ready? I was ready.
B.W.O. 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 Brothers with opinions, now we spreading the word. In this world, things get hard cause we been blinded by ignorance, man. Fear the unknown to progress is a hindrance. Silence is consent, so let your voices be heard. Man, we brothers with opinions, now we spreading the word. Bringing light to the dark, revolution is an art. Man, a lot of people talk, but they ain't never walked apart. Gotta shine a light on poverty and fight against injustice. And always speak the truth.
What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Sunday, December 1st, last month of the year, 2025 coming up. But before that, we're going to get into another episode with Zeb, Wayne, Tony, and myself, man. Let's get it going because we have Mr. Zach on coming about 10 o'clock hour. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, listen to my man Tony real quick, kick it off with that local news and all those scores happening in the area.
Yeah. So to clarify, it'll be Zach Harrell-Zook, the Hanley head coach of the basketball team, everyone that's jumping on for our fans who don't know. All right. So jumping into local news and sports, like we always talk playoffs and everything. And so we have Class 2, I'll start with, where Strasburg beat Buckingham, beat the brakes off of them, 54-7. And then Pocosin beat King William 40-0, and Glenvar was over Gretna 30-8, and Gretna. Yeah. And then Graham, man, a lot of shutouts, man. 21-0 over Union. So that sets the stage for, congratulations to Strasburg. They're one of two teams who've made it to, the regional champs, Class 2, and made it to the VHS state semifinals. So they will face Pocosin. Seems like next Friday or Saturday. It's probably Saturday. What's the 7th? Because some of these games are played on Saturdays. And then Glenvar will face Graham. So then
December 7th is a Saturday.
Yeah, so that's I noticed some games were on Saturday too. But okay, so moving on to Class 3, Lafayette defeated Norcom 33-6. Kettle Run squeaked by Thomas Jefferson 35-32. Liberty Christian defeated Turner Ashby 56-23, and William Byrd over Lord however you say that name, 46-44. So that sets up Kettle Run faces Lafayette, and Liberty Christian faces William Byrd in the VHSO semifinal for Class 3.
LCA is going to win that one.
Is that your prediction?
They're from Lynchburg. Yeah, I know a lot of not a lot about them, but enough about them to know that they're legit.
Yeah, I haven't really heard it. You're talking about Liberty Christian, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now Class 4, we have Sherando defeats Salem 29-26. Phoebus destroyed Hampton 42-0. Tuscarora over John Champaign 41-16, and Dinwiddie falls to Varenna 41-27.
So who plays next week?
So then that, like I say, that's next Saturday. I think, do the Sherando? Yeah. So next Saturday, Sherando plays Phoebus and Tuscarora plays Varenna.
Where's that state game at?
I'm not sure. Yeah. God, you asked me too quick.
Some neutral site.
It's I'd have to look it up. Oh, we don't want to forget about West Virginia real quick. Sorry, because they started a week late. So Martinsburg defeated Parkinsburg South 56-14. Huntington defeated Wheeling Park 51-39. Spring Mills won 14-7 over Morgantown. And Hurricane defeated Jefferson 57-21, which sets up their semifinal. Martinsburg plays Huntington and Spring Mills plays Hurricane. So, of course, Spring Mills and Martinsburg look like they're on a head-on collision in the playoffs. And two, like you said, Chris, two teams out of Martinsburg pretty much.
What about that region that Skyline was in? Did that team that beat Skyline, Thomas Jefferson?
Yeah, that's what I think.
They lost to Kettle Run.
They lost to Kettle Run.
32.
35-32.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't hear that score.
Mhm.
Apologize.
Yeah, so they squeaked by them. So I think Kettle Run will probably, they have a chance to win it. They're always good. So there you go, guys. Local scores. And shout out to Sharando and Charlesburg for moving on and representing the area.
Go Warriors.
That's pretty.
Strasburg be dominating teams too, man. No lies. That's surprising. Andrew Mudson plays for them, I think.
Yeah, he goes to Strasburg now. So yeah, congrats to those two local teams. You know, keep going, bring a state title home, bring it back to the area. So moving on, now everyone, we will get on with Zach Harrell and get into that interview. So everybody enjoy that interview with Zach Harrell, the coach of John Hanley High School. All right, everyone. We have Coach Zach Harrell-Zook on from John Hanley High School, varsity basketball coach. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. No problem. Yeah, we just have a few questions for it. Won't be that bad. All right. So, first question I have is, what is your coaching philosophy? If you could get into that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I believe that, as a coach, for me, it's the 3 Ps: passion, purpose, and persistence. Like you have to be unwaverably passionable about your cause, what you're doing, and then you have to be able to instill that into your players. Your players have to play with an unbelievable amount of passion. Everyone has to have the same love for the game and the cause that you're working towards in order to be successful. The second is persistence. Can't take days off. You can't have days that waver from the mission. That same passion, you have to be persistent in that cause every single day. And then you have to have a purpose. Like everything that you do, there has to be a why. There has to be a why behind everything you do, and every kid has a different why. Every coach has a different why. That why is going to be different for everybody. But you have to have passion. You have to have a purpose behind what you're doing, and then you have to be persistent. Now, when it comes to, I'm sure some of what you're asking has to do with, some X's and O's or offense, defense. What are things you'd like to do? How are things you'd like to play? So I obviously come from, playing college basketball, coaching college basketball. So I've seen the higher level side of things. And when it comes to high school basketball, one of my favorite quotes ever is, "The shoes are meant to fit the feet, not the feet to the shoes. And shoes vary in all size and conformation." So if I have a size 8 team, I can't force them into a size 13 shoe. They're a size 8. Right? If I have a size 13 team, I can't force them into a size 8. So I think it's the coach's job to formulate a system that brings the most out of the talent or players or skill sets that they have, rather than trying to force feed them into a system. I think you can look at not just this area, but other programs around the state that have, hey, we're going to run this every year, no matter what.
And don't have the talent to do it. I totally understand from coach.
Yeah, well, I think you look around the state, and you have some coaches have been, for the last however long they've been flex, and we're flex no matter what. But you've got a ball dominant, guard heavy team, and you're running flex. Or you have a team that is primarily motion based, but you've got 3 bigs that can all post up and get to the ball. So it depends on what you have, but some coaches don't waver from that. What I'll say about us and our system and our philosophy is, like, I'm going to fit a system to the players. Now what things won't change and what the non-negotiables are is that we must be the hardest working, most prepared, most conditioned team on the floor every single night. So those are non-negotiables. But I'm going to alter what we do offensively, defensively, to fit to fit the personnel and the kids that I have. Like for instance, this year, we've got a guy in Jay Sean Offwood who's 6'3", 355 pounds. He's Division I offensive lineman. So, when he's in a game at points this year, we might try to get the ball down low. We've got an extremely versatile defensive piece and Christian Dinges, who's 6'5", plays well above the rim, and has a 6'6" wingspan. So there are things that I can do with Christian defensively that I haven't been able to do with teams in the past. So it all just, then you've got Will Braun Doohan, who's, our area of basketball has been around for close to 100 years. You've got On Three Sports, which is a widely popular, recruiting network, along with 24/7 Sports and stuff, that has published articles on him being potentially the best shooter in his class in the country for 2027. So there's things offensively you can do with that, right? So it's got to fit the kids that you have, and that's my belief. I believe it's my job to put the kids in the best position possible based on their skill sets, rather than force the kids to do, what I want to do.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. It's like every year you have a different challenge, or a different group of kids you have to cater to, and
and that's the fun
whatever
part.
their strong part, their strong points are. You want to I've learned that as a coach. So,
that's the fun part to me, and that's what's different than college. Is I think at college you're going to recruit to, hey, this is how I'd like to play, and this is what we're going to recruit to, versus at the high school level, it's, hey, we got to make the best out of what we have, and this is the hand we're dealt with, and how can we get the most out of this group of kids? That's the fun part to me, because then I'm always learning and evolving as a coach, rather than, hey, this is what we do no matter what.
College is a lot easier, like you just said. They can recruit what they want to run their system. At least try to.
Yeah. You look at, Alabama, and they don't, they're not recruiting anyone that didn't shoot 45% from three in high school. They're also not recruiting anyone that's, if you're below 6 foot, you better be, one of the fastest guards in the country. So, it's different. I personally love the challenge of, hey, let's see what we got, and hey, what can we do to maximize this group? And that's what's fun. So I think you'll see, different stuff from us this year, offensively, defensively, than even last year. In a year that we went 18-6, and had a good season with a lot of youthful players, and a lot of them are coming back. But even a lot of them have evolved their games, and they they're better in certain ways now, or they're older, they're stronger, they're more physical, and then you can do a whole lot more with that based on those circumstances.
I totally agree. So speaking of that, your culture, let's move on to Chad. So what have you seen as your biggest challenge as a coach so far, Hanley, being a head coach?
I think that in today's era of social media, a million AAU teams, the cost of college, and you look at kids from our area, and for the majority of our kids, if they want to try to have a free education, it's going to be through sports. And I think that places a lot of pressure on kids and families. And, I think the biggest challenge has been trying to educate, orchestrate, convince 15, 16, 17, and even 18-year-old boys that your statistics do not matter at all. Right. At all. Christian Dinges could average, which he won't. He could average 8 points and 5 rebounds. And I still have Division I programs texting me, week in, week out about him, because he's 6'5". He can shoot the three. He can play above the rim, and he has long arms. It doesn't matter what his high school statistics are. It doesn't matter, what what Will's high school stats are. If you're being considered one of the best shooters in the country, then you're going to be recruited at that level, right? It doesn't matter. That is the hard part that has been for me is, that with social media and all of the things out there and just trying to get everyone to understand what is important, and that the only thing anyone's ever going to remember is, did you win or did you lose?
Right.
Did your team win or did they lose? I mean, heck, I was player of the year in 2015. I can't tell you what my stats were. All I know is we went 20-2 and lost on a game on a buzzer beater shot at Charlottesville in triple overtime. And we underachieved as a team. That's the only thing I could tell you. I couldn't tell you
that damn Charlotte
or anything.
Yeah, that damn Charlottesville. How come they always pop up?
Yeah, that's okay. Our goal is to make them come to us this year, so we have a different story. But yeah, that's been the hardest part is just trying to educate our area, our players on like, hey, like, fellas, you guys could, any single one of you could go play at Wood or a different school in the area, and you'd probably average a whole lot more points, maybe play more.
Yeah.
Right.
But you won't be as successful as this team can be.
Yeah.
And just trying to put it all together. And I think the hard part for me has been, that first year, it was COVID, and it was just us as a staff and those kids. Yeah. And there was no possibility for any outside noise or influence. Like, it was just us and the kids. Nobody at the game. Like, just what that group was able to accomplish. I mean, you're talking about a team that was less than 500 the year before. Right. That we took to the state final, and we're up by 7 at half, wearing masks against a team from the 757. Like, and it was because they didn't care. They didn't care what they scored. They didn't care about, mom and dad weren't there to yell and scream at them. And like, these kids feel so much pressure. And the hard part for me has been trying to facilitate an environment where they don't feel that. They can just play and love each other. And like, man, there's nothing that means more to me than this last year, when I got married, my best friend, Chris Oates, was my best man, and Trey Briscoe was at my wedding. And like, we all grew up together, and they're at my wedding party. It's like, I want that for these kids too. When they leave here, for them to have those meaningful, lifelong friends. And, so I think the biggest challenge has been trying to get kids to understand that, those things don't matter. And what matters is what you achieve as a team. And that's all that anyone's ever going to remember. And it's hard for a 16-year-old kid to understand that, when everyone else is trying to be cool and look cool. And it's like, no, guys, what's cool is winning.
Yeah.
What's cool is winning. What's cool is doing something that nobody's ever done.
Yeah.
And being able to hang that in the rafters forever. Right? Because teams come and go, but banners hang forever.
Yeah.
And they will remember you forever if you do something that no one else has ever done. But in order to do something no one else has ever done, you have to act different than everyone else has ever done. And that's the hard part. But that's also fun. Like, if it was easy, everybody would do it, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you have the most talent coming back.
Go ahead, Chris.
Nah, Coach has the most talent coming back by far. They're probably the deepest team. They remind me of Kentucky, especially with the guard play.
Yeah.
There's so many, from Will to Briscoe to Amari. There's just so many of them. Oglesby, like you said, Christian. You guys are very deep, and they've been together now for 2 or 3 years consistently. But you're right. Coach Dixon, who coached all of us, name on the court. We've all went to states. Guess what? We don't have what Millbrook has, and they haven't been around nearly as long as us. You could change whole history.
Right. Yeah, and
those kids got to realize that. You're right.
Yeah,
and with that being said, good.
I grew up down the street from Little E, and Chris Oates, one of my closest friends, his older brother Andrew Oates played on that team. So I got to live vicariously through, that team almost like their whole time growing up, because I'd always be at, Chris and Andrew's house, and, I'd see little E, the Rodney twins, Levon, like those guys, man, like they would get into it. They were competitive and but they didn't, at the end of the day, they didn't care about anything but winning.
Right.
And that's why they got it done. That's why. And guess what? You still had Eric still went on to play Division I. Jordan Sugar still went on to play Division I. And Andrew went on to play quarterback at Shepherd. And they all still went on to do all the things that they wanted to do individually. But did they maybe average as many points as they could have somewhere else? No. But what they did together was, like you said, something that hadn't been done. And that was back when there was only 3 classifications.
Yeah.
Now you got 6.
Yeah, we would have never played against Hampton and any of them back in our day. Never.
No, never. No,
they would have crushed
Brunswick,
us.
Woodbridge, Garfield. I mean, it just looked different.
Right.
Yeah, we wouldn't have never ever had a chance to play anybody in the 757.
Yeah.
They would have put it on us.
Wayne, I think Wayne's got a question. Go ahead, Wayne.
I got one question for you. Just keep it short and simple. Mine is like a motivational standpoint. What strategies do you use to keep your players engaged and motivated, whether it's a winning situation or a losing situation?
Yeah, the number one thing kids look for, and what I also have to take in mind with a lot of my kids, I mean, you're looking at pretty much every given year. I'll have a roster that 2/3 of the team will be a single family household.
Mm-hmm.
At least 2/3 of the team, is in that realm. And so at the end of the day, all these kids want to know is you believe in them.
Right.
They might not be hearing that. They might not be hearing it at home, or they might not have. We got a lot of kids on the team, where it's single moms getting after it, working multiple jobs, doing everything they can to provide for them. And sometimes we may be the only voice that that they get to hear from a male perspective at times. And any kid just wants to know that you believe in them. So I think at the heart of our motivation is instilling and letting the kids know that we believe in them. And it's not just about, hey, you have the potential to do this. No, we believe you can do this right now. Because every kid, they're told, man, you could do this or you could do that. You have this potential, but letting them know this is what we believe you can do right now, and we believe it. And that's what, yelling and screaming and belittling kids, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't, and now the stronger a relationship you have with a kid, then you can get on them. But at the heart of that message is, hey, come on, man, I know you can do better.
Exactly.
You're better than this. It's not, it's not trying to belittle or demean them as a kid, but our kids, man, they just need that lift, that, hey, we believe in you. You're fine. Everything's going to be okay. That's how we try to motivate.
Awesome. I mean, I've always learned as a coach, turn a negative into a positive. Yeah. Don't always just point out the negative, but always finish with a positive.
Yeah. My old coach, Scott Mankins, who, we were just talking about that team, that won a state title. Mankins used to praise positive attitudes change everything. That was the saying of the team. Every team was pace. Positive attitudes change everything. There's nothing good going to come from dwelling on the negative.
Oh,
exactly.
Not at all.
Wayne, he's the one that coached Mike, Chris, and Tigney when we was playing. They was nice, man. They was missing a player down low, but they was the best.
Yeah, and Chris Boone is one that Chris was over at my house a couple weeks ago. We were putting in some trim and redoing my hallway, and Chris is another one of those guys, like that team that they had back in the day when you had Tig, Boone, Crawford,
oh God,
man, any one of them guys could have had 40 a night, but it was. They
also had Jamie Good also.
Yeah, it was whoever was hot, and they just they played well together as a team, and they just Chris has talked to me too about trying to come in, talk to the guys at some point this year too, and I just think having our guys here from not just I'll try to bring in alumni or folks from the area that have, hey, maybe that they got done as a team what they wanted to get done, and this is what worked for them, but also guys that, hey, we didn't get it done, and these are some things that that stopped us along the way. We got too worried about this, or we got too worried about that, or so yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, Zach, another question for you. Share a memorable moment from your coaching career that stands out as a highlight.
So we are traveling on the road in the state semifinal game to Halifax. And this is during COVID times. I'm 23 years old. I mean, it's just the year is flying by so fast. We're sitting at 10-0, and if we win the game, we know that we're hosting the state title. We know that, and we're up 3 with 3.5 seconds to go. And there's a guy on the scouting report. I'm not joking when I say he has not hit a 3 all year long. And that was on the scout report, like, hey. And so my inbound philosophy was, hey, we're going to deny everyone but him. Like, we're going to play the statistics. Like, we're going to deny everyone but him, and he's going to have to heave it from half court. Yeah. Like, that's how we're going to, we're going to force the ball back. He's got to take 2 dribbles and heave it from half court. Man, if that joker didn't bank in a half court shot to send it into overtime. And the part that impressed me, man, was like, it, and people say this, and this is like, people say like, oh, well, when things get hard, Hanley quit. Like, that's what people say. Yeah, and in that moment, I'm telling you, when those 5 guys walked over to me after that guy hit that shot, the look in Meech's eye was like, nah, just give me the ball. This is done. Right? Like, but they could have just put their heads down and folded. Yeah. Like, that's an on the road game. They hit a half court shot. Dude hasn't hit a 3 all year long. All the momentum is shifted, and just like the way they walked over to the huddle was like, nah, we're not going out like this. And I was just so proud of that group, because you couldn't script the scenario even more where people say, oh, Hanley kids quit. Like, you couldn't have scripted a better scenario. And those kids did not at all. And they put their back up against the wall, and we ended up winning it by 7 in overtime. Like, it was score, stop, score, stop, score, stop. And it was just that. Sometimes I worry, like, as a coach, that happened to me when I was 23. Like, I could coach for 50 more years and never be more proud of a group of kids, just because, like, that was the ultimate test of, like, resiliency for that group. Right. And I hate so much that people didn't get to see that team. Like, it just, that team deserved for the community to be able to see them. And obviously it was tough times and circumstances, but that's by far and away the proudest moment. It's just not even that we won the game, that they didn't give up. Yeah. That they continued to fight. And I think from that moment it's carried on. Like, you can watch any of our teams with our staff the last 4 years. It's like, those kids fight. Like, they continue to fight, and they do not give up. I mean, at Charlottesville last year, they shot 41 free throws to our 13, and our kids are still digging in, heels in, down 8 with a minute and a half to go, just fighting. And that's what I'm most impressed about, is that first group was able to carry that on, and to the other groups that have come after.
Gotcha. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, Chris, you got a question?
Yeah. When can we see on the schedule that Hanley and Martinsburg get to play each other?
That's a good question, man.
Way back, and they have not played in so long. I'm like, man, that'd be amazing for that area right there, the 81. I think that could be fun, especially because you guys are really good, and we know Martinsburg's always pretty good.
Yeah, and that would obviously prepare us for what what we eventually want to get to, which in the region tournament, and if you're fortunate to get to a state tournament, like, it's hard for our kids to play teams all year long that just try to slow us down, and then all of a sudden you're playing somebody that's just trapping everywhere, flying around, super athletic. So our kids almost have to play like 2 different brands of basketball throughout the year. And Martinsburg would prepare us for for the types of teams that we would see at the regional level with the EC Glass or GW Danville.
Yeah, because they run, they have size.
Absolutely. They're athletic, well coached, and I think we would do Martinsburg a favor too as well. Here's all I'll say about this, and you guys can ask the other coaches when you interview. I am just so the way that the region works now is all record based.
Yeah.
It's all based on your record. So I
Mm-hmm.
want you to compare the schedules of the local county schools last year to the schedules that they made this year for themselves after we went 18-6. And I want you to look at that. And so
Right.
it's become hard for me. Like if we schedule Spotswood twice, Martinsburg, Huguenot, Skyline twice,
Mm-hmm.
Another school from Ridge, like we wanted to play Verona. Like if we schedule all these 10 really tough games, well, shoot, we may go 16-6 and we'll be 16-8. We'll be extremely prepared for the playoffs, but we may not make the playoffs.
Yeah, because
Right.
they can hurt you in the long run, is what you're getting.
Yeah, so if the other schools are playing Warren County and Central and Turner Ashby, I mean, look at the schedules. I mean, it's hard for us. So that's why, as the vice president of the Coaches Association, the biggest thing on my agenda, well, two things. One is the shot clock, and two is getting a statewide point system. Like you should be encouraged to play tough teams. The system shouldn't be encouraged for you to, schedule down lower classifications and then, try to get the best record possible. And I understand why the other area coaches did it. They're looking at the region like, we know Hanley and Charlottesville are going to be really good, and that leaves 2 playoff spots. So how are we going to get there? Right.
Exactly.
And, so they're trying to schedule favorable games that they feel like they can win to try to get in that playoff hunt.
But then when they face Charlottesville or Hanley, more than likely they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Because you're not going to win if you're playing all the Rappahannock and Warren County and stuff all the time.
Right. But the system, for them, is they're looking at it like, hey, we got to figure out a way to get to the postseason.
Exactly.
So we play Huguenot this year. We play Skyline twice. We play Charlottesville. Like we have some tough games on our Stanton. Old R.E. Lee. So like we have some tough games on our schedule this year, and hopefully we can win the benefit of the doubt of those and get to the next level. But we don't want to be in a scenario again where we're traveling in the postseason because we scheduled tough games and everybody around us didn't. You look at Charlottesville's schedule from last year. I looked at it at the beginning of the year and I said they only have 3 potential losses: Western Albemarle twice and Albemarle twice. That's it. Mm-hmm. You look at their schedule and you're like, this team's 18-4 at the minimum. And so like you knew you had minimal margin for error. And so we played Spotswood twice and we played Meridian and, we played Skyline. Fortunately, we got Skyline. They typically always had some good talent, but, we played some tough games last year and, we were, I think it was a game or 2 under Charlottesville. So then we had to travel. And that was a tough environment for sure.
Mm-hmm. What about the tournaments? How do you decide what tournaments you're going to be a part of, and how do you know exactly what team you might play? If it's a real tournament, like you'd play the winner of a game and so on, but this might just be a matchup tournament where you just play a game and that's it.
Yeah, so the main in-season tournament that we do is the Hanley Showcase, and what we'll try to do with that is we'll try to give us a team that will simulate what a postseason team for us would look like. So this year we're playing Huguenot. I just went down and scouted them Saturday after Thanksgiving, and all seniors, extremely athletic. They're going to press, trap, fly around. So, that would prepare us for EC Glass, GW Danville, Charlottesville, prepare us for those types. But now the way that you have so many Class 3 and Class 4 Northwestern District teams, so the district is like, 12 or 14 teams in the Northwestern District, but there's like 8 Class 3 teams and only 4 or 5 Class 4 teams now. So what they've done is they've said, hey, Class 4s, you've got to play 3 Class 3 teams at least twice. So that right there, that's 6 games right there. And then you factor in all your district games that James Wood, Liberty, Sarando, Millbrook. So you're already looking at 16, 18 games already covered. So you don't have a lot of wiggle room. And then really the only time people really do tournaments is either a holiday tournament around Christmas time or, like you said, we do a showcase like that. So we haven't played in a tournament where it's like, hey, if you win this one, you go on and play a different team at the next one. So I think in-season tournaments have kind of gone away a little bit just because, so much of your regular season is consumed with like what your mandated required games are.
Gotcha. Right. Well, I have one last question. To get done real quick. So Zach, describe a pivotal moment in your coaching career where you had to make a tough decision that impacted the team's trajectory.
When you say impacts team's trajectory, like, hey, this could like lessen talent for us.
Yeah, like just a controversy. Does it like I've made hard decisions. Like a starter. You're taking out somebody. It's just anything that was a hard decision. Basically, you had to make a very tough decision.
Sure. I think. Let's see. They're sophomores. They're juniors now. So 2 years ago, around Christmas time, was when Kyron Oglesby transferred back into Hanley.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in time, it was halfway through the year. So, you have to really ask yourself, like, hey, what are you going to do? Is he going to be on the team? Is how long does he sit before he can play? How does all of that work?
Right.
And ultimately, I arrived at the decision of, Kyron lives, you could throw a football from his house. You could throw a football from his house to the back of Hanley. So it's people called him a transfer, but it's like, is he really a transfer? I mean,
he played at Daniel Morgan. He's lived in Winchester.
Right.
His mom went to school with us, so
yeah. And so
she went to Hanley and Wood.
Yeah. So, I kind of looked at that situation like, and I don't know, I didn't know too much how much Kyron really wanted to be at the private school he was at. I think he wanted to play with his friends and he wanted to be at Hanley and he wanted to, be there. And so, we had a decision to make. Hey, we're going to put him on the team. What are we going to do? And, I sat him for 2 games, but that was in, hey, you have to do and earn everything that everyone else already has.
Right.
And then we'll go from there. So, he had to pass his conditioning test that everyone has to do, which Tony, I'm sure Christian's told you about.
We know about that.
The ladder is not easy, and it took Kyron a couple times, to the point I said, what are you guys doing in practices over there? And it took him a couple times and hey, if you want, you got Isaiah Levette here that's a senior and, you've got other guys, that play your position, you're going to have to come in and compete right away. But we were getting really stagnant as a program at that time. Like I think we were 3-7 and we were on the verge of like, the team was like, are we okay with losing? Like, have we just accepted losing?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where the team was. And so your question was like a pivotal moment that could have changed the trajectory. But the reality was when somebody came in at that moment in time, it elevated the competition in practice immediately.
Yeah,
like everyone started realize, like I'm fighting for time. I'm fighting for minutes. I'm fighting for rotation. And, I applaud Kyron for handling it, the way he did, where, hey, bud, you're not getting a uniform till you pass that test. And then once you get a uniform, you got to practice X amount of days before you can play. And, I remember, watching, he sat out the Skyline game at home and, we tried everything in the world we could do to stop the Diggs kid and we couldn't. And, they beat us at home in a close one. And I could see Kyron like wanted to get out there and thought he could make a difference. And he just came in and put his head down. But, that was tough. But I kind of looked at that, like, hey, this kid's been here. He grew up here. He was right around the corner. So, I thought that was a pivotal time, but, I thought it worked out good for us.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that.
We finished the season 17-12 and went to the state tournament that year. And it wasn't just because like, oh, we had Kyron now. Just just the level of competition every day and the level of compete and practice, and just like, it was just a pivotal moment for the team. Everyone got tired of losing. You know, when Kyron came in, he didn't want to lose any games. Everyone was tired of being 3-7, and it sparked this competition and competitiveness in practice.
Hey, I get it. I mean, you know, like, it's more, the more talent you have, it's going to lift everybody else up.
Yep, iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron. Yep, you took words right out of my mouth. So, I mean, the best team I ever had at Daniel Morgan was with Christian, Amari, Jay. Like, dude, we were 15, and that team, best practice ever, pushed each other every practice. And like you said, you bring somebody, it's like, oh shit, I better step my game up. You know, because this guy could take my spot just like that, which happens. So it's always great to have. It's great to have a lot of talent, but at the same time, you be a curse when you do. You know how that goes. So, guys, you got any more questions for Zach?
Nah, I'm good on the questions.
Oh, you're good. So,
Yeah.
Zach, like you brought up, you know, you have a tough schedule and everything, and I'll just say I predict you guys to finish first in the district. I'll say it first and foremost. So, but who do you see as your biggest challenge this year in the district?
So in the district,
Not to put you on the spot.
yeah, you know, I think every year in, year out, you know, Sharando seems to always have the same type of team: tall, physical, play well together. But I think that,
Yeah,
you know,
Garland's been coaching since I played. Like,
33 years. Yeah, you know, and you know what you're gonna get. I mean, you know, hey, it's gonna be flex and circle motion, and you know, but they all buy in. I mean, you can't say that his teams don't buy in, and they play hard, and so they always have some good size, and you know, but I think that Millbrook has a good core of seniors this year, with Sean Rooks, Kyle Arthur, and some of the seniors that they have. I think that they'll be truly competitive. But I truly mean this when I say this, but like, we really just focus on us. Like, I don't, like, in the summer, we don't play any of them. You know, we don't play, like, we play John Marshall in Westfield. Like, I mean, we don't keep tabs on what they're doing or how they are. And like, we really just focus on us, and that's been good to us. You know, we're in 4 years, we're 50% state tournament appearance rate. And, you know, we have a regional state championship or a regional championship, a state runner up. And, you know, it's been good to us, just focusing on us and trying to, you know, keep our locker room and focus on us. But I do think that, you know, I think Ben Bates is going to be an instant culture change at James Wood. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to, you know, I think when they play us, they'll try to make the game 12-8, and really slow the game down. And, you know, I think that, you know, Eric's teams always play hard, and Millbrook typically is always going to have some shooters. So you look at the game we played against them last year. I mean, what were we going to do? They shot 65% from three. You know, I mean, they've got guys that, you know, can get hot any given night. So, you know, but I would suspect Millbrook with the most returning senior guard play to be pretty competitive.
Got it. Okay. Gotcha.
Interesting.
But you're right, Tony. Everybody else is playing for second.
Yeah, I believe so. They know it too. But Zach, in ending, what do you do for or how do you get your team involved with the community? I would say your players and student athletes.
Yeah, so a couple things we do. One, we run the Hanley basketball camp in the summertime. You know, we've consistently averaged 100 kids, you know, at camp each summer. Then we'll volunteer and run camp with Parks and Rec, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys have talked to him yet, but this will be a great interview. What Chris Conyer is doing with Winchester Parks and Rec really needs some recognition. I mean, they're from where, when I took over the job at Hanley, from where the rec basketball program was then to where it's at now. I mean, he's scraping for volunteer coaches because there's 400 kids in the league. I mean, it's incredible. so we'll try to volunteer there. And that's been a big part of, something I've tried to do is get involved with Parks and Rec, get involved with, the grassroots development of our kids. And, we've, Winchester Parks and Rec orchestrated a really good deal with Shenandoah University that allows them to, allow a lot of rec programs at a really affordable cost for kids, so we can get our kids involved in stuff early on. So that's been a big part of our volunteer environment as well, is helping run camps and programs for Winchester Parks and Rec. This year, a couple of things we're going to do. One is Salvation Army bell ringing during the holiday times. I think it provides a great humility aspect to our players, getting out there and raising funds for a great cause. And we're also going to do around the holiday time, close to when, everyone's doing their Christmas shopping last minute, do just a one-day basketball camp that also combos with the food drive, where, hey, you can bring your kid in, drop them off all day, go do shopping for your kids. We'll take care of them. We'll wear them out. But we just ask you bring a non-perishable good, and do a food drive to help feed some families for the holidays. And then the other thing we're doing this year is I'm asking the kids to pick a community service project. So I'm saying, hey, you've got 3 weeks. I need a plan. Who are we helping? Why are we helping them? How are we going to do it? And it's on them to figure it out as a team. And so that passes the baton to them, and then hopefully shows them that this is more than basketball, and that you guys have the ability to make an impact on the lives of other people.
Good stuff, man. I like it. So in closing, who was your biggest inspiration in your life and got you into coaching?
I would say it's a combination of a few different people. It's hard for me to pinpoint one specific person. But my college coach, Paige Moyer, was the definition of like a personable coach that cares about you. And like, he just, that really showed me what coaching was all about. But then I got to see my second year, Coach Nunley, who was just, man, he was hard on you, and he was detail oriented. But like, when I tore my patella and he brought me on staff, like I got to realize, like, man, this guy sleeps here. Like, he doesn't leave. Like he is always watching film, and he's always preparing. And so it's like, no wonder he gets frustrated, like he's pouring his heart and soul into this. And I think it was the combination of those two that really showed me, like, if you can be a bit of both, you can be a good coach. Like, you can't be, off the rails, just super detail oriented, and not focus on the relationships and developing those. But you can't also just be a, full-blown players coach that has no non-negotiables, no standards, no rules. Like, you've got to be a balance of both. But it was also when I graduated college, as soon as I graduated college, I came back home. We found out my dad had stage 4 multiple myeloma. My dad's not supposed to be here right now. Yeah. And right. They told him, they called in myself and my mom. They said, hey, he's got 3.5 months, but if he goes to Johns Hopkins and does a stem cell transfusion, he'll have a chance. And so we said, all right, when can we go? Like, we'll drive right now. And, so my dad went to Johns Hopkins for 30 days and did a stem cell transfusion. And, he has a form of cancer that's not curable. It has to be maintained and requires weekly medications and stuff. But the stem cell transfusion, is what kept him here to this day. But I just remember, as a player, I did not care about player of the years. I did not care about it. I just wanted to win a state championship. That's all I wanted to do. But my dad couldn't come to many of my games because he worked 90 hours a week growing up. And so I felt like my dad missed a lot of me with basketball. And so it was just such an easy decision for me. One, I mean, my college coaches told me, like, you have a gift for coaching. You need to coach. And, so that kind of sparked the interest. And then I started to realize, like, man, I might be a better coach than I was a player. I couldn't play a
I
lick
can
of
second.
defense.
I can
I couldn't
second
play
that.
a lick of defense, but I could coach it.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to guard anybody, but I could teach Christian how to do it.
Right.
And it's so it was just really the combination of all those things at a really pivotal time. And I just before my dad goes, there's two things that I want to do in Winchester. I want my dad to see, a program I'm a part of win a state title, and I want John Hanley to win a state title. Like I can't be done. I can't be done with Winchester until I think a school that deserves that so much, is finally able to achieve that.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, I agree, man. Let's get a state title, and then your job's finished, Zach. Then you can leave.
No,
start the legacy, man. Start the legacy.
I think that's the point where you can just take a deep breath.
Right, yeah, right.
All right.
But,
now let's go do it again.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So set the bar high. But hey, man, we appreciate you, and hey, I definitely appreciate you because you've coached Quincy, my oldest boy, and Christian, right? That you've brought up a lot here, but yeah, I appreciate everything you do. You're a tough coach. You're a tough coach, and you stick to your guns, man. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and they've learned from it. They might not, especially speaking about Quincy, he might not know now, but he'll learn in the long run. What you were trying to instill and teach.
Well, I would say he does. I can't remember where it was. I either ran into Quincy or Nikki, but he's Quincy's working with you now, right?
Yeah, he's at UPS now. Yep.
Yeah, he's what, $20 an hour or something? He's working.
Yeah.
He learned. He learned. He's there. And this is a whole nother conversation, but I think we got to stop force feeding messages to our kids that the only thing they can do to make something out of themselves is go to college. Look at some of these jobs we have in our area alone. Dude, a car wash is paying $20 an hour to go down there and do this.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
The hang loose, whatever it's called, hang 10.
Right.
$20 an hour to go down there. And Tavon Long and Kamani are down there both making $20 an hour. And, Tavon is working towards a management role.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So.
Yeah, I think, we do touch on something. It's like sports or butt, you know what I mean? Like, that's it. And I've learned, especially with my oldest, because I've learned, you're a parent and going through this the first time. And that's the thing, you just want them to be successful and a great human being, in the end. Sports isn't the end all be all, so, but you learn a lot from playing sports.
And you sometimes you'll hear like, oh, or you're only about winning, or, it's all that matters is winning. It's like, no, but if you focus on the traits that contribute to or result in winning, those are the traits that you're gonna take with you for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Yes.
And life is a battle of winning and losing. You're not the only person applying for the job. You're not the only person doing the job. Like, there's somebody out there that's trying to do it better than you. And so when you focus on what it takes to win and getting people to do that, then that they're going to be successful in what they do next. Because what that requires is 100% of your effort all the time, right? Your best effort. It requires a positive attitude. It requires being able to handle adversity. It requires being able to work with others. All those things together, you learn those through sports, but you play the game to win, right? And so all those traits go into contributing to what it takes to win. And then, what it's all about is life after Hanley.
No,
exactly
right. Yep. So Zach, hey man, we appreciate you, and good luck on the season. And
absolutely. Look forward to seeing you guys.
Yeah,
we'll be out there. Man. Keep the kids motivated, man, and engaged.
Absolutely.
Yep. Hey man,
I appreciate your guys' time.
Hey, you too, man. We really appreciate it. Have a good day, man.
All right, guys.
All right, later.
Later.
All right, everyone. That was Coach Zach Harrell. We appreciate him being on this week. And so now we're going to jump into our main topics for this week, which will be Donald Trump, tariffs, and then we'll talk about some history that's never talked about. All right, everybody. All right, so now our first topic, everyone, will be Trump policies and the tariffs that he wants to put on countries and taxes and all kinds of bullshit. So let's just dive into that because he wants to start taxing, 100% tax is what it says on Canada, Mexico, Guam, Israel, whoever. He wants to tax everybody for imported goods. So what's your all's thoughts on that?
It's the same stuff all the time, man. I don't really think nothing's going to change. They just everything that it's just an excuse to continuously raise the prices on everything we have to buy, regardless if it's for your home, for your car. It is a home or a car. Your food, your supplies you get at everyday dollar stores or Walmart or whatever. Like it's going to be no different. They're just going to raise the prices on everything except for our pay. Our wages won't change, but the price of everything will, and they'll continue to delete the middle class and continuously raise the bar between that top 1% and everybody else.
So, okay, Chris, so to touch on, I'll touch on this article from the Associated Press. It says, and I quote, President-elect Donald Trump on Saturday threatened 100% tariffs against a bloc of 9 nations if they act to undermine the U.S. dollar. His threat was directed at countries in the so-called BRIC alliance, which consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. So,
which that's where Dubai is.
So that's basically what we get all our goods from Canada. Yeah, what do we get from Canada? Lumber. And some fruit. I think I have to look up what we import from Canada and Mexico and stuff like that. So the thing is everybody who voted for Trump was thinking, oh, what do they always say? Oh, gas prices and everything's going down. Well, guess what, everybody? If he does this, everything's going to skyrocket. And like you said, Chris, we can't even survive now as it is.
Well, you got to think about when he was in office, gas never went down. Gas rose when he was in office. And then when you put this extra tax, so-called tariff on all these nations, all it does is just raise taxes on imported and exported goods. And the only people that benefit from it are foreign countries, the consumer, and then the country who's getting the products imported into their country. So with that being said, it would never benefit the citizens of no country. It'll just always make us pay more and more for clothes, food, gas, etc. Just like Chris was saying, like everything will just get raised and our pay will stay the same.
Well, shit. I mean, when you look into the national average, the history of like, what do I say? Pay rate, minimum wage is what I'm thinking. Dude, it really hasn't rose since the 70s or 80s. It's been the national average has stayed the same for 30 over 40 years.
Yeah, that number is always going to be different because they change it, but like it's still the median point of the economy. You never go up. There's no up.
I mean,
when you thinking you're making $27 an hour at your job, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm making good money, but you forget to realize what they raised in our country. So you're still living the life as like you're in the 1990s.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. So yeah, like you say, you make even $30 an hour.
Yeah,
everything goes up and it all balances out. It's like you're still basically making the same. I want to say, they try to make it look good,
right? Like back in the day, we talked about it before. We're like, oh, gas is 79 cents. You could get a soda for 50 cents. Yeah, because you wasn't making that much. And then when all of a sudden you start making more, now the soda costs $2.20. Bag of chips costs $3. But it's the same shit that they were making in those other decades, man. They ain't changed the cheese. They ain't changed the tortilla. Like, everything's still the same, bro.
Man, I remember when a piece of candy cost 1 penny, man. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I understand things go up, but it's the whole gripe is, well, all right, if shit goes up, of course your pay has, have it all balance out.
But it doesn't.
But they want it, of course.
Ask your parents if they're, God willing, they're all still living, or the ones that are. Ask them how much they used to be able to just, even though we don't like it like that now, but ask them about McDonald's. Say, how much could you get a McDonald's meal for? They will be like, I ate a whole McDonald's meal for under $1.
I remember when it was $5, $6.
Yeah, it's like 18 to 20 now.
It's double. Yeah,
Shit,
it's
you ain't
double.
lying.
Everything's double.
Yeah.
It's more than double now, actually, Zeb. Yeah. Remember we used to have the deal like two Big Macs for like what, $5?
Yeah.
Now one is like $10.
It's one.
You know why you can get 2 Big Macs for $5? That's 4 patties. You know what I'm
And,
saying?
and they're super little, and they add that extra piece of bread to make you feel like you got something.
Yeah,
Because
man.
it's not meat, it's soy. They put soy, like ground soy protein. They
Yeah,
cut
man.
the meat. It's weird.
But it didn't used to be fake.
Nah, it used to be
None of that
real.
stuff used to be fake until people realized that they could hustle the shit out of all of us and just make fake food and then
Yeah.
save money on their end, but charge us more.
Yeah.
And with the things they add to it, it makes it so addictive. Like people, as in general, we love these products, the Whoppers and all this extra stuff, Subway, Chipotle, but it's all fake.
Well, they
It
put so much
wasn't
salt
fake when
in
our
it.
parents' generation and then when these restaurants started out, they was not fake.
Man, you got to think about it, man. There's not that many fucking cows, man, to keep up with all the McDonald's in the world, bro.
Cows,
Like,
pigs, and chickens, man. That's the food I
Well,
grew up on, so I love it. But yeah.
it's processed anyway.
everything's processed, man. Everything's fake, bro.
It
Yeah.
is, but what I'm saying, Tony, is it didn't used to be. Ask your mom. She'll be like, hell no, it was good. It was real.
Yeah,
It's
I
like when we
remember
touched
it ever
on the
being
chicken
real.
sandwich, like from
It's
Chick-fil-A.
people started fucking with the farms and everything else. Look at Bill Gates. He bought up like 75% of the farmland on this country, and he's doing all kind of shit with it. He just got a law passed where he's allowed to genetically inject his food with fake shit. And I'm like, how's that crazy? And it got passed because he's got all that money, and they can be like, well, I'll do what I want. And
Shit.
people like you can't break the law or override the law. Well, he has enough money to pay all the lawmakers. Yes, he can, and he did.
China is buying farmland in this country. China.
Really?
And
Yeah.
but they're cool with Bill Gates. They
They
are.
All right, guys, I'll touch on this article a little more, what Trump stated, and then Putin as well. So it says Trump, in a Truth Social post, said, "We require a commitment from these countries that they will neither create a new BRICS currency nor back any other currency to replace the mighty US dollar, or they will face 100% tariffs and should expect to say goodbye to selling into the wonderful US economy." So moving on, it says it's not us who refuse to use the dollar, Putin said at the time. But if they don't let us work, what can we do? We are forced to search for alternatives. Russia has specifically pushed for the creation of a new payment system that would offer an alternative to the global bank messaging network SWIFT and allow Moscow to dodge Western sanctions and trade with partners. And of course, moving on, Trump states, no chance. BRIC will replace the US dollar in global trade, and any country that tries to make that happen should wave goodbye to America. So this all
But that's that new thing they have. That's BRICS, the BRIC thing you're saying. Yeah,
bricks.
I told you a lot of countries have done away with the US dollar. And
So,
they ain't worried about it. Like end of the day, you're talking about these countries. You think they're not worried about that? They'll be like, well, that's the loss of the U.S. because we won't have all that product. And then now the demand will be so high that they're going to charge super crazy amount of money even for anybody here to try to get it on like internet and everything else. Trump can't shut that down.
Yeah, he can. He's just going to make it worse for our country, man.
Yep.
You got to think about it. When you go into stores, man, how many things that you pick up say made in the U.S.?
Man, it says made in Indonesia, made in Taiwan, everything else. But
we don't even make our own
Exactly.
flag.
So why would he want to do something like that, bro?
But wait, I'm glad you brought that up.
You know how many doors you'll see shut on businesses in America, bro, that rely on imported goods?
A lot.
Yep, because they can't complete their business without imported goods.
Exactly.
How many cars are driven every day in this country that ain't from this country?
Exactly.
Like what's from this country? Ford and
yeah, but
and what else? General Motors, but there's not a lot.
Yeah, but
General
Ford
Motors
is even overseas now. Dude, you got to realize, okay, they say it's not American made anymore. A lot of these cars, they get all their parts made overseas somewhere now.
Yeah.
And that's why every time we call anybody for help, we always got to speak to somebody that's hard to understand because they're not even from here either. I ain't knocking them, but they got a job. But I'm like, all these jobs was sent overseas. And I think they was doing that when starting in like the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah.
They did that to
So,
save money, but now it's really backfired and fucked the whole economy and all of us as a people.
hmm
Well,
Yeah, I think
I think that's the logic behind Donald Trump's tariff that he's putting on the other countries. He's trying to bring the work back into this
Yeah, he
country.
wants to bring the business back.
He wants to put people back to work.
I mean, yeah, I get that.
It's like we're feeding everyone, but we're not feeding ourselves.
right.
hmm
Because
There's a
we want to look
problem.
good to the outside world.
Good point, Zoe.
Do you guys know that most countries don't pay any of their people per hour? They pay them salaries. So
Yeah,
no matter
yeah.
what, they get paid the same and they have a good work-life balance. And they said that the US is crazy when it's compared to everything else, to how much we have to go to work just to make a dollar.
Yeah.
hmm
Like a lot of people from other countries always want to come to the US because, they think they're going to live a better life. But when they come over here, they're like, fuck, like,
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck is going on?
you'd be like,
I've
how do
seen
y'all
it many
survive?
times.
Yeah. And then you see a lot of foreigners that come in, they all live together because they can't live on their own.
hmm
And they stack up, and then everybody makes fun of them. Look at all these Mexicans or Haitians or whatever in one house or one car, and 5 years later, they all got their own shit because they was willing to go through that for them 4 or 5 years.
Well, you kind of have to, for real.
But they made it happen, and everybody else would be still struggling because we wasn't willing to do all that as a people. We was like, man, fuck it,
There's no unity like that here.
nope. But
hmm
they've created it because all they've done is divide us as a people every single day with a million different reasons or ways to divide us.
Yeah.
When really we all got to get up and do the same shit, no matter what you look like, no matter what state you live in, you still got to go to work, still got to pay taxes, so to speak. You got to do whatever they tell you. But you're right. Everybody from other countries come here because they sell that American dream, but it's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
They get here and be like, why is there so much homelessness, so many crackheads and fiends and shit everywhere? Because they don't understand. They see TV, they just see movies.
But
They
look
see
at a lot
big
of
cities and lights, and they think that everything here is the same as looking at like Jay-Z and Tom Hanks. It's not. That's not our life.
But look at a lot of them though. They're smart though, man. They come here and they build that American dollar because wherever they came from, that American dollar might be worth something where they came from.
Oh, it is. That's
So
why they all send money back to their families.
yeah, man. So when they go back home, bro, man, they're probably living like a king back home or a queen, man, in a big ass like so-called mansion, bro.
Oh yeah, my wife's sending money back. Like her mom's got Wi-Fi, Central Air. Like they've all upgraded.
Right.
hmm
They didn't
Because your
have
wife
that
is able to
before.
send that back to US dollar and it's worth so much more in these other countries.
Yeah, but here before long, it ain't gonna be worth shit.
Yeah, they're already being depleted by a lot of countries. That's why Trump's like, oh, y'all ain't gonna fuck with us. Well, guess what? But we'll see what happens. Tony, what you think about it all? Because I think the last time that gas was low, like consistently, was Bill Clinton was in office.
Yeah, you're right.
I
Bill.
don't since Bush and everything else, times have just changed. But in all honesty, Bush came and 9/11 came, and times have really changed. But it ain't no low gas prices no more.
Hey, when Bill Clinton was in office, love the man or Haiti, we were in a surplus, which means right a positive. We didn't have a national debt when he was in office. He's the last that basically got us out of debt, and our economy was thriving when Clinton was in office.
Yeah, but
He
there was
kept it real. He smoked weed, got hit, and was laid back.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
he played the
maybe that's what we
saxophone. Like he's chilling.
yeah,
yeah,
but the
so
world seemed like it was at peace though.
yeah, I
That's
mean
a
we were.
difference.
I mean, do the research.
Every
We can't
country,
say the
every
world was
nation.
at peace. Our world was at peace. There was no fights for the USA like that.
Yeah, but
Not after the first Bush, right? Desert Storm. That happened in the early 90s. The first Bush was in office. When we
Mhm.
was all leaving elementary, go to middle school. That was that last fight. I don't think Bill Clinton did have any big wars. But
he did.
he definitely created a lot of shit that we didn't realize.
So, all right. So, final thoughts on this tariffs. It's a bad idea.
Of course,
We'll be screwed.
that's my opinion.
Just to sum that up, we'll definitely be screwed. So, moving on, done with Trump for now, because he's always a hot topic. Almost every week you talk anything about his dumb ass. So, we'll get into history that that's unspoken, never talked about. And Chris had an interesting one. Chris, you sent this through a text, right? This USS Liberty incident in 1967. So first of all, ask like the guy did in the video is like, who's everybody thinks our biggest ally, right? In this country, who's our biggest ally? Everybody will say who?
It's Israel.
Right?
England.
So, yeah, Israel or England. So this USS Liberty incident I'll touch on and we'll speak about it was it happened during the 6-Day War, which was between Arab and Israel war, Arab and Israel war. And one of our aircraft carriers, right, was bombed, torpedoed by Israel. And they claim it was an accident. And this was in 1967, June 8th of 1967, when this happened. And of course, Israel claims, because they apologized for the attack, saying that the USS Liberty had been attacked in error after being mistaken for an Egyptian ship. Both the Israeli and U.S. governments conducted inquiries and issued reports that concluded the attack was a mistake due to Israel confusion about the ship's identity. Others, including survivors of the attack, have rejected these conclusions and maintained that the attack was deliberate.
And Israel runs the U.S. And you want to know that's part of the reason that it kind of started back then, because the U.S. didn't investigate none of that. They didn't worry about it. And Israel was like, well, you know what? We can kind of do what we want with them fuckers. And that's real.
Yeah, we'll just bomb your ship, say, oh, it was a mistake. Our bad.
And half the people that have been in our government recently are all people that have Israeli ties.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even Biden, like, you know what I mean? The Zionists, and so to speak, like, they're all just like, yeah, they don't give a fuck. They don't care about no America or nothing. They care about themselves. But Israel is controlling this country from the inside out. And that what you're talking about right now, Tony, you're right. That kind of started it off. When the U.S. didn't investigate it, it was like, all right, they just said it was an accident. Like, what?
It's like,
they was testing us. They was testing us by that warship or whatever, the ship. And once they realized the U.S. wasn't going to do nothing, they was like, well, shit, we good. We got them in our back pocket now. And it's so small of a place, and nobody's really from Israel like that. There's people born there now, of course, but most of their people moved there from other places and wanted to create it. That's their whole army is people from other places, including this country.
Oh, and then moving on the article, it says here that Lyndon B. Johnson was accused of covering up the attack.
Because he's probably one of them too. They all involved in that shit together, man. And we never even hear about it.
And that's why was there really a thorough investigation? Honestly. So who knows? But Israel government has paid money to survivors, families and stuff through the years. They did come to that agreement where they paid millions out in compensation and stuff to the family, the 34 victims who were killed in the attack. So they are doing that, paying out money, but it doesn't bring people back. So the attack, not talked about much at all, ever. So there you go for your history that is never spoken or taught in schools, because it was covered up by Lyndon B. Johnson and he took it out the history books.
Yeah, they don't want us to know about it, then we won't. He's probably looking some stuff up.
Y'all was just talking, so I was letting y'all get your little shine on though. I'm just looking at a lot of stuff that just don't get taught in schools, man. Like the first thing that popped up when I did my research was a lady named Claudette Colvin, and in school they tell you that Rosa Parks was the first one to give up her seat on the bus, but apparently this lady was the first one to give up her seat.
She did it way before Rosa.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, but they teach you in schools that Rosa Parks was the one initially sparked the civil rights movement after refusing to give up her seat. While it was true, but when Claudette was 15, she was the first one to actually refuse that movement.
And Rosa Parks is a red bone black woman. The other young lady was pretty dark, you know what I mean? And it's funny how they wait and do what they want when they want to do it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it still was a black woman, right?
Yeah, it was a black
So
woman.
it's like, why does Rosa Parks get credit?
Right.
Or that's what's taught.
Well, Tony, I
Exactly.
don't think they didn't ever have the white people sit on the back of the bus. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I know that. I'm just saying, like Wayne just stated, I'm just trying to understand why does Rosa Parks get the credit for it? You see, they're not the first
Yeah,
woman.
that
Well,
happened.
Jackie
That happened.
Robinson's not the first black guy to play in the major leagues. Like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
they tell us certain people for reasons. It's weird.
Mhm.
it is weird, man. I wonder why they do that though.
Yeah.
Bill Russell's not the first black guy in the NBA. Like, you know what I mean? But they tell us these guys are the ones.
And that happened like 9 months before Rosa Parks even decided to do the
Mhm.
same thing she did. So it's kind of interesting. And then also in like 1871, there was a Chinese massacre in Los Angeles where there was a mob of 500 men that was raided in the small town of Chinatown in LA. And they killed at least 20 Chinese Americans and stealing an estimated $1.5 million worth of property. And then they say that the government was behind all that.
The same way it was with the
Yeah.
Tulsa massacre and stuff. Like, it's the same. They will take anybody's shit that they want because, not to be funny, and it's real. The white people's like, no, this is all us. Everything is ours. And if you think you can come here and do something, we're gonna fucking rob you and burn you and kill you.
Yeah, man.
People don't
It's a
understand it.
lot.
That's why I tell people, I'm like, look, I know the racism against black people is a lot, but it's against all people that ain't white.
Yeah, it's just minorities in general.
It'll
That's
be
it.
against poor. It'll be against poor trailer park kind of people, redneck kind of people. They'll come and take them too if they want. They'll be like, no, we got all this.
Mhm.
Yeah, man.
I
You're
seen a
right.
video the other day. I think I shared it with you. I'm not sure. This country redneck dude was like, man, you know what they don't want is for us and the hood guys to come together. He says
Oh yeah, I
they
saw
want us.
that.
They
Yeah.
want to keep us separated and this and that. He was like, but we're smart enough. When we team up together, we can shut anything down we want.
You're right. They try to keep us divided because if we're united, they know they're fucked.
Yep.
You know?
But a lot of this history that's not taught in schools, though, it makes the Caucasian race look bad. That's me, my personal belief of why it's not taught in schools. Because
Yeah, because I ain't
Oh,
gonna lie.
of course.
They don't want that. But in the same instance, it's not, so to speak, Tony and Steph and all these people that did nothing with it. But you're right.
right,
It makes their whole race look bad.
You're right.
Because it's like they really conquer and divide everything.
So Wade, moving on from history, you got your picks ready
stay with
for
your
this
picks,
week?
baby. Get better and better each week, baby. So y'all better start
I
following
know
and
that
tuning
one
in.
loss he
What
had
did, what
last
did,
week was the fucking Washington 2 weeks ago. We lost, man. Come
yeah,
on,
so
man.
what was your record last week? What did
My
you
my record last week was 9-1. The only game
Oh
that I
shit.
lost, I took the Texans over the Titans. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Who's
Yeah,
going to take the Titans over the Texans? I don't know. Maybe a Titans fan. But yeah, I
gotcha.
went 9-1 last week. So
What? I thought you took us over Dallas, and we definitely didn't win.
no,
No,
that wasn't on the list. Hold on.
no, I don't
That
think
was
he
that was a part of this week's games because let's see, hold on. I don't think I chose that as a game. I didn't. I took that off my list.
he just left that off.
Yeah, I left that one
But
as a
that was
game
smart
off.
then because we tricked it up.
Last week I took Tampa Bay over the Giants, which I was correct. Chiefs over the Panthers, which I was correct. Miami over New England, which I was correct. Texans lost to the Titans. That was my only loss. I took the Lions over the Colts. Minnesota over Chicago, Denver over the Raiders, Green Bay over the 49ers, Seahawks over Arizona, and the Ravens over the Chargers. So all those hit except for that Texans game. So this week, I got an 8-leg for you. I'm going to take the Colts over the Patriots, the Texans over the Jaguars. I'm going with them again. I got to. They got to win one. Vikings over Cardinals, Tampa Bay over Carolina, the Rams over the Saints. In a thriller game today, I believe it's at 1 o'clock. The Eagles will beat the Ravens today. Bills over the 49ers. And my last one, another upset. I'm taking the Bengals over the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hold on, the
Nice,
Eagles and the
nice.
Ravens play today.
Yeah, one.
Oh, that would be a big game.
Yeah,
Who
that's
y'all
gonna
got for
be
MVP right now? Saquon, Lamar, or somebody else?
Well, I'm tired of seeing it go to a quarterback, man. So, hands down, I'd like to see Barkley. But you can't even count Henry out because Henry's right behind him when it comes to rushing yards. But Barkley's having a historical season, though, for himself.
I agree with Wade. I think I'd like to see it go to a running back, and I think Barkley. It's Barkley or Henry.
Yeah.
Is it because They're
Henry
doing
would
their thing.
Henry would have
Saquon
to.
would
but
have
he-
to win because Saquon's team only has 2 losses. The Ravens have 5 losses already.
But the problem with Henry is he's got Lamar Jackson on his team.
Vice versa. Lamar's up there for MVP, but I just think Saquon might get it and he should get it. But they haven't given it to a running back much, and the last time was 2012 with AP.
Right.
Well, to correct you on that though, Chris, Ravens only have 4 losses coming into this game.
Well, that's
So
still twice as
it's-
many as the Eagles.
Right. So they definitely need this win, man. But the Eagles are playing at such a high level right now, and the defense is starting to play a little bit better, man. It's gonna be a hell of a game today.
All
That'll
right.
be one of my legs for the day. I'm going to definitely take all those teams on the money line. Just a little word of advice. Stop taking long parlays. I just do long parlays because it's just something I like to do. But start focusing on 2 and 3 leg parlays, on players that normally aren't part of the script. You got to start doing your research if you want that payout.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Expert of football and parlays. So everyone, that wraps up B.W.O, Brothers with Opinions. And we want to thank Zach Harrell for being on. And also, everybody tune in and check us out on Facebook, Instagram, X, or Twitter, whatever they call it these days. And also go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Everyone, they'd help us out on that.
When you go to that platform, you'll see it down low. Make sure you click that subscribe button.
Yep.
All followers, please. We need you.
Yeah, it's very simple. Subscribe. We got a lot of followers on Facebook, so everybody just go click that subscribe button on YouTube. That'll help us out. We're at 10 right now. We thank everybody who is, subscribed to our show so far on YouTube. So everyone, great episode, and we'll see everybody next week.
And don't forget out there, if you got any comments, anything you want to be talked about on our platform, just let us know. Reach out.
Yes, sir.
Share your thoughts in the comment.
Yep. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Brothers with opinions, big voice, no silence, revolution televised, ain't no good in private, not knowledge to the ignorant, ain't never been bliss. Stand up and be heard, we the new activists. Yeah, brothers with opinion, let the convo begin. Communication key, but then you must comprehend. Preach B.W.O, let your voices be heard. We enlightened by the truth, and now we spreading the word. Let's go. How do we learn to live when we conditioned to die? Most people fail before they start because they don't ever try. Man, they told us we was worthless, we believed in the lie. We took it way too literal when Big said ready to die. The KKK turned the cops in disguise. Man, a lot done changed, but race still applies. 5-0, hands up, don't even ask why. Trayvon, Mike Brown, man, another mother's cry. Hey,